front camera.
Share the link.
हाँ, ये
Please share the link with us.
sorry. 15 seconds people have watched you.
Share.
It's going on.
Share the link with us.
Okay, I'm sharing the link with you all.
No, I'll get the link. No issues.
हाँ, दैनिक अम्बेडकर वाले में है ना?
No, 1 minute. Sorry. So, good evening all. Thank you for joining us. Good evening all, and thank you for joining us on this very important occasion. We will just take 2 minutes to set up our live stream. We are not digital natives as you could have seen now. We will share the link and then we will get back to you to the live stream. And people on the live stream, please wait for 2 minutes. We are inventors, but we are not creators.
This is happening on दैनिक अम्बेडकर channel. Just check it. दैनिक अम्बेडकर. Just check if the voice is coming properly. Then I will do this. Otherwise, it's okay.
इधर का पंखा बंद कर दीजिए, please.
Shall I send you the link?
I got the link.
Just check the sound. It's coming clearly. No? Karthik, you speak something. I'm just checking if I need to put this over.
Hello, can you hear me? Check 1, 2, 3. Check 1, 2, 3. Check 1, 2, 3.
When he speaks, it's clear. Find the sound.
We are going to use this. Now I'm going to use this, see if there is a feedback loop. I'm using the mic. Is it audible? There is no there is no feedback, right?
Required?
थोड़ा स्लो है लेकिन ठीक है.
But that's okay, fine.
That is because of the internet connection.
Aisha was saying that you were sorry, I can't be there with this.
No. It's YouTube is stopping me from sharing any links. Yes, it's been, all of the links have been thrown out.
Yes, the shared it with us. We're sharing it on the chat of the link. To share it in the chat of that original link, right? But so anybody who's logging into that link will be able to see it. It's not show.
No, it doesn't show, it doesn't show. Wait, I'm sending the link.
Sharing.
Karthik, you could also share it on the JNU articles.
I'm not there.
Which this one?
JNU Linguistics Olympiad.
This one?
Yes.
Yeah.
By supplement means No, it is block. Start going on social media, Shah. I'll paste the link that I'm sending it to you on all of Facebook pages. Share this YouTube live link. Yes, you can live link.
You are not, but unlimited translation
Just 1 second, 1 moment. Anji, go ahead. They'll do? सर मैं मेल कर दिया सबको
हाँ what do you want? Tell me. हाँ. Is this all right? Yeah.
Let's start. So, start.
Anyway, he's on.
Very good evening all. We are extremely sorry for the delay, and people in the live stream, I hope people from the whole stream have caught up to us. Now, I take this opportunity to, before we start the event, I take this opportunity to thank a few people who have made the event possible. To begin with, I'll start with Boa Senior, whose immortal words have actually inspired us to work on a platform like this. So that's my first and foremost thanks to her, and also a sort of a promise to keep what she has given us live and whole. So second, I'd like to thank Jawaharlal University and the Center for Linguistics, who have enabled us by creating this space and also offering us support for launching the app and also conducting a workshop around it. So I'd like to thank the chairperson, Professor Pradeep Kumar Das, then the faculties, Ashok Kidwai, and Dr. Pautang, who was here, Professor Pautang, who was here on the inauguration day, and all the other faculties who have been immensely helpful for us in organizing the event. Second, I would like to thank Professor Abhi, who has made it all the way here for the launch. Ma'am, it's an immense pleasure having you here, and we hope that we will be able to also say a few more words on how we have done this and set a guideline for us for future development. Now I invite upon now I like to also thank our YouTuber and future faculty of English department in Bihar, Dr. Dharmraj Kumar, for helping us do the YouTube live stream. And now I invite Unreal Tech's company CEO, Dr. Ritesh Kumar, to talk a bit about the aspect of crowdsourcing and our idea behind this app. Please.
Thanks, Atekho, and thanks, ma'am, for coming. Okay, so I'll quickly go through this. I probably had a longer PPT. I'll try to cut it short because there's nothing yet and would like to finish as soon as we could. Okay, so I'll just go through some of the background information. Probably you already have this, but those of you who don't know about us, about our company. So it's called Unreal Tech LLC, and we were founded in 2022. Since then, I mean, this was founded with the mission of building language technologies for under-resourced languages. Right? So that was the primary goal. That remains the primary goal of the company, and the idea is to have technology for everyone, and that everyone doesn't just include the speakers of the 22 scheduled languages, as they keep on emphasizing again and again. So, by the estimates given in the census, it kind of says that almost 250 million people in India, and that's still sort of biased estimate, but at least those many people speak a language which is non-scheduled, which is not scheduled, which is not among the 22 languages. That's a large number of languages. So that was the primary motivation for trying to build technologies that works for everyone. Right? And then, of course, in order to do that, we are also trying to provide platforms and resources for the community members who could, work with the technology that's been developed, so that they don't have to fiddle with the computers and all of that. And we are trying to train the next generation of people who could probably advance the work and advance the language technology. So those are some of the things. So this 2-day workshop, all of you worked a lot on Matra Lab, which is a transcription, a lot of things. So essentially a documentation app, and we could also call it a data management app, where you could upload your audio recordings, you could transcribe, translate, you could do annotations, do glossing, all of that, and not completely manually. So that's the idea, that we need to accelerate the pace at which we work. So we have those models embedded in the system which you could use and automate these tasks. Of course, when you're working on a new language, you may not have a model for that language, but we're trying to use models that are there for related languages, see how they work, and have other things that you've already worked on, you're aware of. The second module that was supposed to be done in the workshop, but we couldn't because Matra Lab took more time than we expected, is the lexicon module, where you could again build the lexicon, build dictionaries, glossaries, those are multilingual, but the point there is also to automate some of the recurring tasks. For example, if you already have gloss data, one could use that for creating the lexicon to a certain extent. Some of the existing tools do support that, but our idea is also to take it beyond that support. For example, you could automatically attach audio segments to your dictionaries using, if you have worked on this app. So everything on the same platform. For example, you went to the field, you recorded the data, and then you came back with the data, you have uploaded on the app, and then you have segmented the audio, right? If you have segmented at the word level, you could actually generate the whole of the dictionary almost completely automatically, in the sense that the words will be taken from your glosses, the part of speech categories, etc. The example sentences will come from there, the audio will come from there, right? So that's how it's done. Now, what we'll see and what we're trying to launch today is the third app, which is Atekho, and it's the app which helps you in recording things, right? So that's the first step. When they were launching it at the end, the last one. So the idea behind Atekho is also not just to help you in recording, but to help the community members in recording their own languages, in documenting their own languages, cultures, their own oral traditions, and possibly also their environment and whatever would be of interest, right? So it's not built just for the researchers in that sense, it's also built for the communities. Now, unlike the other two apps that you saw, so for example, glossing is a feature that will be used by linguists, right? Almost exclusively. Now, all of this is part of our internal project called Boli, where we try and collect data for different languages and different varieties of languages. And that data is what's generally called richly annotated data, which includes recordings, transcriptions, translations, morphological glossing. Generally, you don't get this richly annotated data within the broader field of language technology. So the idea is to have some kind of benchmark data that could be used for testing the systems, but if it's further extended, then that could also be used for building those technologies for the languages. So as you document language, as you build these resources, this could be automatically used for building the models. Okay, so that's the whole idea. Okay, so now there are few things that I would like to talk about, and one is crowdsourcing, because the app Atekho is what could be called a crowdsourcing app as well, right? So I'm sure most of you have heard what crowdsourcing is, but these are generally the core principles of traditionally what crowdsourcing has been till now. Right? So we provide, for example, you need to divide. Okay, so at a very primary level, crowdsourcing is getting your work, some kind of task that get done by the crowd. Right now, the name itself suggests a lot of things. So, and it requires that you do things in a certain way. Right? For example, you need to break down your task into doable micro tasks, smaller tasks that could be done by a large, diverse group of people who are not trained in that task. And that's why they're crowd. Then there is, you invite a broad participation through public platforms, and there is some incentives involved for doing the work. The incentive could be monetary, generally it's monetary. Till now it has been so. And finally you aggregate the results that's done by the crowd. So the popular use cases of crowdsourcing includes data annotation. For example, you have say 1,000 or 10,000 texts and you want it to be marked with sentiment analysis, right? Or maybe marked with what kind of named entities are there. With prototypical NLP tasks, as you could say. And also something like translation, and then there is the other kinds of tasks, right? So creating new data, for example, through paraphrasing. These are the things that humans could do and do well, and this was done for collecting the data that could again build automated systems for doing those tasks. Okay. Then more recently, there have been some efforts at building some kind of a crowdsourcing infrastructure that could help people in documenting the languages more generally. So there is no application for this, was available for this till now. Right? So you had different applications. So there was something which was to help you in recording audio, and there was something which could help you in creating a dictionary, collaborative dictionaries, for example. Maybe probably also writing grammars, right? Or those, this kind of, merges two fields, what we call two different methods of building data. So traditionally in language documentation, you would go to the field, you would talk to the community members, you would interact with them while collecting the data, right? So it's a very one-on-one process. Crowdsourcing, on the other hand, is where you don't even know who your contributors are, right? So you just put your task out there, and whoever is available in the platform, they will do the task. Both of these approaches comes with certain advantages and disadvantages, right? So the first one is of course cost. So crowdsourcing is generally cheaper. You don't have to travel, you don't have to spend money on a lot of other things. it also allows you to scale up your data collection, right? In the sense that you could collect thousands of hours of data within a period of months, depending on how many speakers you are. Or it will not take it in a month, it will take a week for you to collect. If you have sufficient incentives and if you have sufficient speakers, then you could do that. At a very fast speed, at a very high scale. But the problem always remains with the quality control. Of course, the problem also remains with the fact that you may not get sufficient speakers for all languages. Now, the idea behind the app is to merge the two approaches, right? So, crowdsourcing, even though it has been implemented till now where you don't know your contributors, doesn't have to be so. So, new methods have been worked out within the broader idea of crowdsourcing, right? So, this is how things have evolved over a period of time. So, initially, or at the most basic level, you have an unknown individual, a worker who is a part of a crowd, who will provide you data, right? So you give the task, you design the task, and somebody in the crowd, a faceless individual, will give you data. That's the most basic or the first implementation of crowdsourcing. Then over a period of time, more specific groups of individuals began to be roped in, and which gave you the scope for contacting the individuals. You are still not contacting the individuals beforehand. So this is a situation where you collect the data, and if you want to confirm something from the speakers, then you contact the speakers, right? It gives you a scope. The most traditional crowdsourcing thing will not give you a scope for contacting them at all. You don't have any contact details of your speakers. The next stage is where community works as a collaborator and a stakeholder in your project, right? So you work with them through an app, but you are in constant touch with your community members. This is where it begins to come closer to the field methods, right? So where you are in touch with the community members. The difference lies here that you are still in touch with a large number of speakers, right? So the speakers are in contact with you, you are in contact with the speakers, the number of speakers is large. It's not 5 or 10 speakers, there is still the scale is of hundreds of speakers. Right? And finally, the idea that we are trying to promote is that of self-documentation, where the community itself takes charge of, say documenting and data collection and everything, and they're not dependent on researchers to formulate the task for them to do, right? So the task is already, defined by the community themselves. So that's what the app Atekho is trying to implement, right? So that has not been implemented technologically. That's what we are trying to implement through this app. So, you see this evolution of crowdsourcing platforms, the 4 stages that I talked about. So AMT, if you know, Amazon Mechanical Turk, that was the traditional crowdsourcing platform where you don't know any of your crowd workers, right? If you have ever used, you would know that you just upload a task on the platform, and whosoever are eligible, they will see the task. You fit the eligibility criteria, for example. So depending on that, whosoever is registered on the platform, they would see the task, they will complete the task. They would probably not know who uploaded the task, you would not know who is doing the task. And for certain kind of tasks, this might be a good design, because you are trying to collect anonymous data and things like that, but it may not work for all kinds of tasks. The second platform, which is Common Voice, this was developed by Mozilla, and this was for collecting speech data, essentially. That was community-led speech data. So in this platform, you will see that there is an option to contact people who have contributed data. Right, so that's the second. Then you have Karya, where you are in touch with your community members directly or indirectly. You have to be in touch with them. So it's not like you upload the task and then somebody is doing. You need to go and work with the community. Also, they emphasize a lot on what's called ethical data collection and collaboration with the community. So there are three existing platforms, major platforms for crowdsourcing. Of course, there are a lot of ethical issues that comes with crowdsourcing, right? So issues of worker exploitation and bias in the data, or how do you take an informed consent? And if somebody says harmful content, offensive or hateful content, for example, either side of the spectrum. So somebody is creating the task or somebody who is doing the task. Right? And there's also this big question about data ownership and community rights because if you, in the traditional crowdsourcing, if you don't know your speakers, you just cannot talk about community rights and all of those issues. So we're trying to handle those, some of those concerns in the app, and the fact that it allows community to do documentation by themselves. Of course, with if needed, wherever needed, there is always this assumption that we'll manage to provide some training to them, we'll work with them. It doesn't mean that you leave them in the lurch and just go ahead and do it. But if it's not needed, then also they should be able to do that documentation tasks, right? So things like fair compensation, transparent communication, compensation when you are claiming your joint ownership over the data, right? So that's when the question of compensation arises. In certain instances, anonymizing the data might be something that could be considered, and the idea of joint ownership and community participation is what we're trying to emphasize. And so, as the overall goal of the app, right, Atekho, right? So, we're trying to merge the two methods and two ways of collecting data, very different ways of collecting data. This was probably developed for very different purposes, but we're trying to see it's an experiment in that sense. If the two could be merged and the two could come together and work together in some way. Right, so this is what we would call the future of language documentation and data collection for both sides of the spectrum, right? So it has to be collaborative. So NLP data collection, for example, doesn't have to be done by the crowd. The speed and the scale could be achieved even when they are being collaborative. Right? So that's try to have a seamless collaboration between the community and the researchers. And this is the process of data collection is something, or the ability to collect data and to document, to have digital archives, for example, that accessibility needs to reach the community. It doesn't need to remain with the researchers or with certain private organizations, right? So it should come to the hands of the community themselves. And it should reach a diverse groups, in the sense that not for 5 major languages, not for 10 major languages. Right? So it should be able to reach across the boundaries, across the communities, whosoever would like to do. And last point being that it needs to be ethical at all points, at all stages. Right? So getting consent for formality is not being ethical at all points. Right? So it includes the questions of fair competition, it includes the questions of data privacy wherever it's demanded. Right? And it includes the question of overall community well-being, data partnership, or those are the things that needs to be prioritized over the need of collecting huge amounts of data. Right? So those things I think existed in a large measure in the field methods, the way field methods have been conducted, or at least the way Professor Rabi has taught us to conduct. But that was somewhere that's still lacking within the larger field of NLP. Right, so that's how we see it, and I guess we'll come to the Atekho launch party. So I think that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Ritesh. Thank you, Ritesh, for laying out the ideas that went behind making Atekho possible. Before we go ahead and launch Atekho formally, I invite upon Venu Parekh, Dr. Venu Parekh, the Chief Knowledge Officer of Unreal Tech, to introduce our chief guest today, Dr. Atekho.
Professor Atekho, few of us here, we just know her from our early introductory days to linguistics, where we were just starting out on our journey, and we came to a master's program in JNU here from, say, Linguistics 101 to South Asia as a linguistic area, and of course, field linguistics. Yes. Professor Atekho is a linguist whose research extends across the Indian subcontinent, the most prominent among which is her extensive work on the tribal languages of the Andaman Islands. Her publications, just to mention a few, include The Vanishing Voices of the Great Andamanis, Endangered Languages of the Andaman Islands, A Dictionary of the Great Andamanese Language, and of course some of the works that we used to refer to most frequently, A Manual of Linguistic Fieldwork and Reduplication of South Asian Languages, and of course Semantic Universals in Indian Languages. Recognitions for her work have come in the form of the Rashtriya Lok Sabha Samman. She is the only Indian linguist to receive the Kenneth Hale Award by the Linguistic Society of America, and of course, she was awarded the Padma Shri by the Government of India in 2013. Besides her teaching at JNU, invited by a long list of universities across the world as a visiting professor. Ma'am, it truly is an honor to have you here on this occasion. Please.
Stay here, when she clicks, we also want a photo. And we have to click the button here. So here, this is the button. Just click there. Just a click. It should open. It's open. So here is Atekho, officially launched to the world.
Hello everyone.
Mike,
It's nice to be back in this
just tell me.
premises almost after 11 years. I retired 11 years ago. I taught in this institute for almost 4 decades, so it's like homecoming. Though the members of home have changed drastically, I don't recognize anybody except a few faces. But really, it's a pleasure, honor, and also joy to be back in JNU. The interesting aspect of today's launch, or today's function, I should say, the event, is that not every day an app of this kind is ever launched. And at least in India or in the world, across the world where I have been, I have not seen an app like this. The app which will be described later, the details of it. But let me tell you that language documentation itself is not an easy task. It's a very, very challenging task. Very few people realize that language documentation basically attempts to document every aspect of human spoken language. Now, language lives in our life, and our life lives in the language. You cannot segregate any aspect of your life from language. And that's why documentation does not restrict you to grammar and dictionaries. You have to cast your net very wide to record, to document all that the community is engaged in everyday life, in their past, and what they think of the future. So language documentation is already a very challenging field, and it is coming up in the last 20 years very fast. More and more technological advances are now being made. So the documentation has become technologically easy, but linguistically it's never easy. because the analysis you have to do according to your expertise. And gone are the days when I started my field work, I used to carry a heavy tape recorder on my shoulder with a huge microphone concealed in my dupatta so that people are not offended that I am recording them. And those days are of course gone, and now you can do everything on your phone, which is so amazing. You see, why I say that language documentation is challenging, because it starts the challenge right at the recitation. You sometimes feel you are behind a closed door. There is no key, there is no keyhole. But there is a sliver of light under the door. You put your ears against the door and you hear the muffled voices. Those are the voices that you are concerned with. They are muffled, you knock at the door and the door opens very slightly and people close the door on you. And this may happen not once or twice, but a couple of times. Yet you should not be discouraged and disheartened. Ultimately the door opens, people invite you in, and that's where your elicitation, friendship with the community begins. And I have experienced this moment time and again, and I also have been telling my students not to leave hope, when this happens. You will be amazed to know, because most of you are new to JNU, that even before the concept or the term endangered languages came into vogue in 1990s, JNU had already started working on lesser known languages, unwritten languages, languages that are on the margin. And it started in mid-70s. I joined JNU in 1976. So this had been growing and growing since then, and it's so exhilarating, and happiness really fills me to see that the team of JNU, including other members of the team, and let me read out the names, Dr. Karthik Narayanan, Dr. Ritesh Kumar, Dr. Belu, who have been my students, but Shyam, Yogesh, Siddharth, and Neerav have put their minds, and I'm sure the body also together, and soul to get at what they are going to present today. So the legacy started in JNU, I must say, but it is nice to see that it is continuing. And I hope that it will continue with other students from other universities who have come to this premises and are sitting here. You have to look at the language through the eyes of the community. Until you do that, you never get at the basicness, or you never get at the crux of the language spoken there. And that way, perhaps this app that you are going to see today does reach the community on its own terms. It's very community empowered. So that particular aspect that I have been teaching all along, that you should look into the language through the eyes of the speakers, is satisfied. You see, you have to have the curiosity of a kid. Unless you have that curiosity, you would not be able to explore the language and its myriad ways of touching life and the aspects of various life. So that is very much needed, because when you look at the language through all these aspects, you realize language and culture are also intertwined. You cannot separate the two. And there comes the time when you are culturally very far away from the community and you are unable to grasp notions. And that's where comes the lexicon. And your lexicon, I'm sure your app will collect a large number of lexicon. You have to take into account the basic word list, the basic sentence list, what is known as basic. Let me tell you, there is nothing basic as such, but they are the words in the list which seem to be least resistant to change and least resistant to influence. However, basicness should be understood as a continuum and not as a dichotomous. So if you understand that, then you will expand your range of the basicness also. Because according to the culture, society, the way the community lives, there sometimes the basic words also deviate from the typical Swedish list of, basic words. Same is with the sentence list. The basic sentence list that you have been using are the ones that perhaps I wrote long ago. They are based on the typology, linguistic typology of Asia or India. So of course it brings out the typological aspects, and but you have to begin with phonetics. To give the metaphor of kitchen, phonetics is like collecting the raw material. Phonemics is the cooking part of it, and morphophonemics is the result. So you have to do all these three. You cannot do one without the other, otherwise you would have no dishes to consume. And these are very important aspects of linguistics that we do training. Oral tradition, as Karthik mentioned, I'm so happy to see that that has also been taken into account, because the last 5-7 years I have been very much engrossed in documenting the orality. And as you know, the unwritten languages, more than 800 right now in India, have survived through orality without any institutional support. What is the magic behind it? What is the mystery behind it? That they have been thriving despite the fact that no funding was ever given to them to make it in the language of the school or language of the institution. So they have this secrets and mysteries of survival, and these survival clues are imbibed in their language. It's your job to unearth those. What are those key words? So lexicon is a very powerful, or vocabulary, it's a very powerful tool that you can get to know the society through them. And that brings me to the area of semantic domains that you choose to elicit your data. Your semantic domains cannot be rigid. It has to vary from community to community, and geographically also, because the people who live by the seashores may have 5 different words for seaside. Or the fisher people, the fisherwomen and fishermen have different words for just the nature or the tides of the sea. Similarly, people who live in the forest areas, they have, I realize Great Andamanis has 6 different words for forest opening itself. So the life that they live in always has some coding. There's nothing in your life which does not get coded in the language. And that's why language is very important. That's why language documentation is so important. If a language vanishes from this earth without documentation, a world is lost. It's the bigger tragedy of language death is the tragedy that we let what is inside the language to die. That's the bigger tragedy. So one has to save that. But let me tell you, those who have misconceptions that language documentation will save the languages, no. Language documentation only preserves the language. Language is saved only if you speak it, if you use it, if you extend the domains of use of language, then the language will be saved. Or speak it or sign it if you are a signer, but the language has to be saved through its use. Documentation can help what was in their language or what is in their language. So in case the language has to be revived, that's one way of doing it. And you know, Hebrew is a very good example. Though the modern Hebrew that is there certainly is not the Old Hebrew, because when it was revived, it had Russian in it and it has other words in it of other European, East European languages. And so, but the Hebrew is there because the community wanted to revive it, because there was huge amount of documentation. I also am adjunct professor at Simon Fraser University, and I have in my class, I have students drawn from the First Nation speakers, that means the American Indian languages, and I realize that the third generation or the fourth generation of American Indians want to learn the language, which their earlier generation did not want to, and their earlier generation was made to forget it. But this current generation wants to learn it, and the helping hand comes from the documentation. Some of the languages are so well documented, their narrations are transcribed and translated, their grammars are written, the dictionaries are written, although it's little skewed, because they are written through the eyes of European linguists. But it's our task to look through those data all over again. So I'm very happy that this revolutionary app, in fact, in a way, which combines quite a few aspects of language documentation, is going to be launched by this team. It is their incessant hard work and devotion that has come to it. I wish I was younger and it was available when I was there, because I can see the advantages of it. I'm very happy that you all thought of naming it Atekho, because Atekho in Great Andaman means speech or language, and A is the body division marker, which means something to do with the mouth and its orifice. So something which you speak naturally comes out of your mouth. So A is there, which you can think of it is a critic, but if you don't understand what a critic is, consider it as a prefix. So it's prefixed by a body division marker for mouth, and Tekho is speech. So I'm very happy that you thought of, and believe it, they never consulted me. For me, it was a surprise that they thought of this name, and I really hope that you carry the message of Boa Senior. And she used to say, "Pakad ke rakho, jane mat do."
We'll show that video.
Yeah, this is why she was so keen that she was the last speaker. There was no one to talk to her. That's why she used to talk to birds, because she thought birds were her ancestors and they understood her. But it was, I've shared her anxiety, I've shared her pain. It's enormous. You just cannot describe it in words. How a last speaker feels like, especially the one who has seen the world, who has gone through and who knows the language is very ancient and old. But there's just nobody to speak to. So she was very happy that I was trying to document it, and I used to speak to with her, but in my broken dua, and she would go, and she used to feel nice if somebody is trying a case and making it in. So what you are doing, this team is going to do, you never know. You might break some new grounds about unearthing those languages which have not been yet explored. Congratulations to all of you, and I'm very happy that you brought it to JNU. Is this the first launch here?
Yes, ma'am. First official launch and workshop.
Okay. So you are lucky, I'm sure. You all must feel fortunate about it. You are really lucky. And all the best, and best wishes, and have a nice time working on this app. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for those encouraging words and for always being with us and shedding the light ahead as we march on in this very dark world. So thank you very much. So before we go into the next part of the video, I'd like to recall that the next part of the demonstration, I'd like to recall that one particular video where Boa Senior asked us to hold together. So here it is. So before I go on to show the video, I believe it is Dr. Alok who is in the video.
Yeah, Dr.
Yes.
Alok Das.
Dr. Alok, yeah, Dr. Alok Das recorded this video. And in this video, Boa Singh, as ma'am says, expresses her anguish, her pain, and also her hope that while I may go, what I am giving you, hold on to it. So that's the video that I am going to show it to you. Please, I hope you will be moved as a generation of linguistics.
She translates her great Andaman into Hindi also.
Yes, yes, yes.
Andaman and Hindi.
क्या बोला? मेरा पेपर बताओ.
So this verse, पकड़ के रखो, बोलो मत, मैं अतेको, बोलना नहीं. That's exactly our workforce phrases.
कुछ छोड़ना नहीं.
And that's guiding us to think about this app in the sense that we have developed it. So just a few confirmation before I start with the demonstration. So, it is my immense pleasure to offer the first demonstration lecture of Atekho today at Jawaharlal University, as ma'am pointed out, and as Benu and also Ritesh pointed out. This is a place for, at least for the three of us, where all of this started.
This is the place where the app started. I mean, had we not been here,
Exactly,
this would not happen.
exactly. So this video is not the first time you're seeing this.
Also, ma'am, all the other team members, they are kind of your students because they are all my students.
So they are grand students. Huh?
Next generation.
Yeah.
So-
Great grandmother.
Yes, academic great grandmother in many senses.
Grand teacher.
Yes, grand teacher. So with that, we are making it clear that it is Boa Senior and ma'am's interaction with Boa Senior, and it is this institution that has made the development of an app like this possible. The whole life, as Ritesh just pointed out, has its origins here. So before I move into the app's nitty-gritties, I'll also take a few seconds to reminisce how we developed this app. So I hold here the book on which we do the first app layout images. So this is the book that I've been handing out, taking photos and sending out, and then trying to design the app. So this book was part of an online discussion that three of us, like 8 of us had, sitting in different parts of India. Again, one in deep south in the Madurai, other in Bangalore and metropolitan, another in Delhi, another in Agra, another in Kharagpur, another in where is Saurav? Balia, and other in
Both of them are.
both of them are in Balia. Saurav and Siddharth are in Balia. At that point of time, Shyam, I believe, was in Hyderabad, and Neera was somewhere in Delhi and Jammu. No, Neera was in Delhi and Kharagpur. Agra, but not, I was not sure where he was at that time. So this app, in many senses, then came out of multiple discussions on how we would want to replicate the fieldwork experience on a mobile phone. So we know the crowdsourcing platform exists, and we know there are several ethical issues with crowdsourcing platform, especially the aspect of community ownership over data. So that sort of a departure is what we are trying to present here. So it's a demonstration of the app, it's a demonstration of the app's capacity, and a call also for you to use it more in the future, whenever you can. So the first thing is, okay. what you're seeing here is the sign-up screen of Atekho. This is a very minimal requirement. So what we have done is the app's target. Before I start about the app, before I go into the app's target. Who are the people who are going to be using this app? As we pointed out, this is a platform for collaboration and also for self-documentation. So understanding the India's socio-economic requirements, we knew that the people who are going to be using this app are those people who are coming into the digital world or starting the use of a smartphone for the first time. So two things then are a challenge in front of us. One is creating a community, or rather putting the community back into the crowd. So the crowd is random. Now organize and make a community. That was the first challenge. So putting community back into the crowd. And second, the community that is going to be using this app are the first generation or the first time internet users. Right? Now we as a nation have adding tens and thousands of people every day into the internet feed. So it is these people that we targeted, and we know also for a fact that India's linguistic diversity is heavily concentrated in the rural area and in the mega urban cities today. And these populations, unfortunately, are also on the lower spectrum of the economic order. So we are challenged. Also, the app is not something that we are making for a super literate, highly educated community, but also for a normal, semi-literate, and a school password is what that who's going to use the app. So the challenge then is to make this app as user-friendly as possible and as intuitive as possible. So we are on this mission. So the app has two versions of it. In the sense, one is what you're seeing, the mobile version, and the other is a version that is attached with live, through which you can control the app, and probably in the future, as me and Ritesh and Vinu and all of us have been talking, probably create an agent, an AI agent that could help the community members even transcribe their own language, help them write or do small levels of descriptions that they could use to develop a script. So most of these tasks have been automated for major languages, but not for these small languages. So that's the long-term vision that we have, that we will have a full-fledged platform, an end-to-end platform where from data collection to analysis could be performed on one platform. So with that introduction, so the sign-up, so it's a very minimal sign-up. You can just go out and see that the sign-up doesn't require you to have a lot of these things. So we wanted some contact information to be taken. We were not sure whether email is the contact information that we wanted, because we know this, that the email is a minimal requirement to operate an Android phone, but many people have an email but doesn't know that they have an email account, right? They don't use the email account. So then the sign-up information that we're asking for are simple name, username, phone number, password, date of birth, gender, and native language. That's all. We want the sign-up information to be as minimal as possible. If a particular project or a particular user who is collecting data with the community, they could want, if they want, they can add more features for it, more metadata information in it, but that would be a task that you will create within the app. Right now, for this is the only information that we are asking for. Now, I have one account that I have already created, so I'm going to go back and use that account for now. So in this app, I'm logging in and I'm going to show you what are the basic layouts of the app. I'm also going to change this view to something that looks closer to a phone. So, to your right side, to the right side of the screen is how it will look on a phone. On some phones it is much nicer, on some phones it is slightly aspect ratio is enlarged, but on an Android phone, it looks good. So you can have a look at it later. Now, what you see here are the basic things. Hello, yeah, just switch off the light. Perfect. So what you're seeing is a basic layout here. To the right, to the left side of the screen is the menu option. The menu option gives access to your profile, manage and log out. Now the profile is basically name, phone number, email ID. That's all. Name, username, phone number. You can also skip giving the phone number actually. The next is manage. Now I will come back to this. The manage here is manage data. Especially here to also upload data, upload a task, not just that. Going back to this, this is how it will look when a task is assigned to a user. They will have the task name. The Bowped is a very famous kit. Bowped kit is the kit that is used for collecting spatial typological relationships. It is developed by the Max Planck Institute. It uses a visual cue to collect data. So that's the Bowped kit. You can have a small thumbnail to represent it here, but it's something that's on the archive in the Max Planck Institute archive for open access. So we are trying to digitize it in the sense we are trying to digitize the task collection here. So this is a picture translation. So they will be basically shown a picture, and you will be translating it. What I have written in picture translation, I can write it in any language possible if it is in Unicode. The script has to be in Unicode and can be in any language possible. We're not just saying Indian language. It could be Chinese, it could be Korean, it could be tomorrow in, let's say, in French or German, or even in ancient Egyptian hieroglyphic scripts, if you can write picture translation there, right? So, this is how the task looks. I am the user who has created the task, so for me, I have not done anything much. So, what you see is the picture prompt, center, up and front and center. And what you see is a small instruction to the picture prompt on the top. PD vastu kahan hai? Is that what it is written? I can't read, yes. But I know that was what is written after we discussed it. And you see this app and you press on the microphone here and say it to the app. Like see the screen, PD vastu kya PD kab मेज के ऊपर है, कब मेरे के मैले है. That's all. And you say it to the app and the app records. Now, how, before I go into how to set up such things, I will take here, this is a task overview. As I pointed out before, that this is an app that is going to be used by the first generation of internet users. These are the people whom we are adding to the internet world, right? So, most of them might not be used to a text-heavy internet. The text-heavy internet was the internet of the 2K before internet was a text-heavy internet. Post-2K internet or what we call Web 2.0 very different. It's a very different beast. So the beast is heavily visual and auditory in nature. And in this, so we also wanted to ensure that literacy and reading shouldn't be a barrier to access. So what we have done is that the instruction of how to collect the data is also given as an auditory instruction, as a simple audio instruction. So here is the instruction. I'm going to play it. I hope it's loud enough.
पिक्चर देखी, पीली कलर का वस्तु कहाँ है बताइएगा.
So it's my Hindi. It's my Hindi. It's not the Hindi, right? It's my Hindi, and probably this Hindi is what would have been more happily accepted in majority of the nation. But this was not the Hindi that I did. I'll be marked fail. But I collected data all over India with this Hindi, so I'll also not deny that. So this instruction could be in standard Hindi or could be in any language that the speaker has. So that's what we wanted to do. The speaker can set these instructions by themselves. For example, a community members, like I work in Sikkim, the community there sets up a language development committee. And the language development committee has either one linguist or a language person who has done language masters in language as its head, and that person undertakes things like developing script, undertake things like making a dictionary. So this is not just for Sikkim, this a unique phenomenon for most of the Northeast languages. I'm sure many of them can know. So there's Bodo Sahitya Samiti, which was once, it's now a very important body in the Bodo culture, but that was once a community-led effort. So community-led efforts have developed the languages. So the community members can use this app to set their own task and circulate it among themselves without our involvement. That's the idea, and that's what we're trying to present here. So we know that this task is a picture translation task. They have to see the picture and give the audio response back, right? So what should be the sample response? How should the response be? That's a question to be asked too. So here is a sample response.
लैपटॉप टेबल के ऊपर है.
So this is what we are expecting from the person. So as Ritesh pointed out, breaking the grammar gathering task into small portions and giving instructions in simple, understandable terms. This is not your terms of conditions that runs into several pages that none of us will ever read. This has to be very simple that everyone can understand. Right? Now that's what we are trying to implement here. It could be bilingual, as we pointed out, the textual information could be bilingual. It can also make the audio information bilingual. So this is how you create the task. Along with this, we have these things. These are share tasks, set a deadline. So since I uploaded this task, I have all these facilities. Share tasks, set a deadline, download whatever that has been collected so far, right? And if I have also contributed data, I can upload the data too. Right? Now this is a basic layout. So you have already seen that I can show a picture as a prompt and I can collect an audio as a data. I can show a video as a prompt and I can collect audio as a data. I can show a text as a prompt and I can collect an audio as a data. I can show a text as a prompt and I can collect a text as data in response. The same, it's a multimodal data collection task. So I can collect text data, I can collect image data, I can collect audio and visual data too, all running out of your mobile phone's browser. Now that's where the next thing in making it accessible lies in. So an application requires us to build all this into a very heavy package that then has to be downloaded and kept on your phone, okay? And the data that you record also will then be stored on it. And you need a very good internet to share this data back, right? So all this then requires a phone that is very good, but that's not the phone that we often find in the market. We find cheap phones where the space is limited, right? All of you have been scrambling to take one or the other app, right? Even if you have 128 GB memory in your phones, because the phones take a lot of space. So a lot of these applications take a space. So then our question is, or our attempt is, why should I add one more MB to the user's phone? Why can't I just run it out of the web application? So the idea is to have a progressive web application that will work both on the phone and on a laptop, and using it on a laptop without any trouble. So this is running out of your phone, out of your browser, and there is no any other better way to do it. Whatever permissions you have given to your browser, that's enough. So the layout, however complex it may be, is simply out there on your phone's browser. So that means if you know how to do Facebook, you should probably be able to learn this as well. So that is what is another thing that we have tried to implement here. Multimodal, very simple, running natively out of the browser, okay, and very intuitive layout. So the very big blue icon with the microphone icon, with the microphone slid out there is obviously understandable. If not, we can tell you, just press the recorder below. A photo, we have a camera icon there. A text box is there. They have to type it through a keyboard, but that's the setup, right? Now, I will log into another account and I'll try and show you how this task is when another user uses it. But before that, I'll show you how to set up this task, how complex it is to make this database, so that I can show you what we are trying to achieve there too. So setting up this app doesn't require any great coding skills. You have to write lines and lines of HTML code and then you have to add all these basic things together to do this. No, it is not. It simply is set up using a simple tabulated spreadsheet. A simple tabulated spreadsheet. The spreadsheet is what we need. And the spreadsheet has exactly 12 columns. This is the information that you need to fill in. 12 unique information is what you need to fill in to set up this app. The first one is give your project a name, because there are going to be hundreds of projects created. So give your project, each of the project a unique name. A task, give each of your task a unique name. It could be one project with multiple tasks. I'll also come back to it again. A question ID, okay. The domain name. So here I'm collecting spatial relations, right? So it's grammar. I'm gathering grammar. I can actually have festivals in your hometown. That could also be a domain. And you can go around collecting videos of festivals in your hometown. Illustration method. This is a picture-based illustration task. It could also be semi-structured illustration, like please go ahead and take a video of a festival that happens in your town, right? Without any major instructions. The only instruction is please take a videograph of a picture for an event that happens in your town. All of us do this, right? We take and we put it on Facebook. We take it and put it on Instagram. Sorry, I'm a Facebook generation. I realize it's not that anymore. You do it on Reels, you do it on Instagram. So all of that is always there. People do record it and people do put it up. So that's exactly what we're trying to use. So illustration method could be anything from a structured illustration task to a free-flowing observed illustration task, right? Target, here my target here is grammar, so the target here is an add position. Question, just fill in the question. Question 1, question 2, I'm only asking the same thing. You can read, any of you can read it. Repeat use car hand, that's the question, right? That's all. The prompt type. Here is where I have to tell what is the prompt type. Whether is it going to be text-based prompt, or audio-based prompt, or video-based prompt, what it is. So right now what the app allows is a text, an audio, a video, right? And an image, sorry. Yeah, I'm showing you an image and I forward the image. So text, audio, video and image. 4 modalities allowed. We are trying to include PDFs as well, right? But what could be done with a PDF could also be done with a GIF or a WebP image. Basically, moving web images, right? That could also be done. And allow multiple responses for one picture. मेज के ऊपर है, to be probably told in multiple ways, right? कब मेज के ऊपर है, कब मेज पर रखा है is also possible if I show you the picture, right? So there could be multiple options. There could be multiple options. There should be options to record those multiple options. How do you enable it? Just save to prompt file number. So this is an image file. So for each image that you want as a prompt for the question, give a unique file number. The response type has to be an audio, right? Let's say audio and instruction again. That's all. You have set up the project. That's all you have set up the project. What you need to do now is create a folder, save this spatial relations in the questionnaire. Any name is okay, but it should have these 12 columns. Am I clear? Any name could be okay. Sample 1, test 1 is okay, but it could be a number also. But it should be these 12 columns that it should be there. And if there are associated images, those associated images should be put out here. Can you see them? This image, the question, and the image name are the same. So you see the prompt file name here, BP01, BP02. It has to be the same. I don't want the extension, just the file name. Now once that is done, zip the questionnaire and the file name together. Create a zip like this, just a zip like this. That's good enough. Now, a similar zip has been created and shared to us for the launch of this exercise. So I'm going to use that now. I'm going to show you what is there, and I'm going to use it. Just 1 minute. I believe you can see the screen. So this is a zip file that has been constructed for today. It's part of a questionnaire for Boli. What we are going to do is we are going to upload it here. So as you can see here, it has the questionnaire form again, and the audio prompt. These are audio prompts and these are image prompts. All of this is here. The only thing that you need to do is go to your app, go to overview, come out of the task. I already set up a task, so just come out of the task. Manage. So this is how you simply deploy. So deployment is very simple, straightforward. Click upload Excel/JSON, private or public. The difference between a private one is that you hold the authority to share it to the person you want. A public one is that anyone on the app can see it online. So what we are also on a mission to do is, so we understood our seniors' words in a much broader context. We wanted to not just document the language words and the stories, but we also want to document the language strategies. So some of the well-known questionnaires out there, like Sabi's basic sentence first word list, Bowpet kit that we are just talking about, there are pattern break questions, and there is several other questionnaires that are now standard questionnaires in any language description task, would be then converted into this format and uploaded online for use by anyone. And these will be available as a public questionnaire posted by us. In addition to this, by using these 12 columns and an Excel sheet or any spreadsheet, you can also create a task for yourself. Now I have created a task for myself and I am going to privately upload it, right? I am not going to share it to the viewers yet. So I am just going to upload, press upload, home, Atekho launch, open. File uploaded successfully. That's all. That's all it takes to deploy this complex app. It is not complex. It might appear complex, but we want to make it as simple as this. So a master's first year student, a person, a language activist that I come across in many communities would be, I believe, would be happy to use this app. And we would be happy to have as many feedback as from as many people as you and others, so that we can make it more user friendly. So now the deploy we have only successfully uploaded it. We already deploy it, share it with other users, right? So I'm coming back, and I'm going to, before I go to this, let's see what is there in this. So what is this question? I have not seen this yet. So opening it up. So this is the project. So Boli test 7, sorry, but it's fine. It is the things that we are trying to correct are there are several tasks in this. Look at the task names. Speech translation. You are hearing a speech prompt, listening to it, and translating it again into speech. So what is called as parallel spoken corpus could also be collected out of this. That's exactly what we are trying to collect here, parallel corpuses, right? Speech narration, open narration. Narrate anything, anywhere from life cycle event. Okay, the questions are both in English and in Hindi. What are the different someone is related to? Sorry. Related to the birth of a child in the community. So Margaret Follis, a very important scholar from Australia, has set out to develop a sort of a oral morality questionnaire, sort of an indicator on what are the various domains of life in which morality plays an important role. So taking that as a base, we have created such operational questions to elicit information, narrations from the informant by offering very minimal instructions. Right? These are, in some sense, we are trying to prompt them to say this on their own. So that's it. That's one. Then picture narration. So they can do, as I pointed out, several tasks in one project, and all of these tasks should be a new task there. Just 1 second. Here it is. It's come out. Oops. Nervous as if I'm writing an exam. Yes. Pass. I've not been nervous while I'm writing it, so I can give it time there. So here it is. You see these 3 dots. Earlier it was just one black dash, right? Now there are black dash and 3 dots. That means there are these many tasks are there. So click on it. Body test 7 is here. The first task is speech translation. The second task, body test 8. The project is part of the task ID is, and this speech narration. Speech or open. Speech and narration. Picture narration. Right? Now, before I go ahead and share it with this, I am the first one, I am the one who's managing the project. So I click on this, look at the overview, and then I can type instructions here. So, this is the instruction I am typing. Please just narrate story based on, and then I click update and I'm done. That's all. I can set up the instructions here. Someone says the instruction is not good, it's not adequate enough. The person who has set up the task can go ahead and check it right there on the phone. You need not go inside. That's all. That's what it requires. Now I can put up an audio instruction. Just go ahead, browse. The audio instruction will open. You can add any audio instruction there. I'm not adding one here. I'm just showing you the demonstration. I can also add a sample response, and I can set a deadline. So we're sharing it with the group, right? Obviously, all of us, when we have set up a committee, when we have set up a Sangha, literally there is a saying that Tamil poets establish several sons to develop their language. I wish that several more sons could be developed, set up for several, at least for all the 1,600 languages, to be developed, to develop each of them. So for each of those sons, then there will be deadlines. I'm sure there will be one organizational structure which says, you have to give me all this data by then, right? I can set up this data. I can set up the data here, the deadline here. The poets might not obey to deadlines, but people who are working on language documentation have to, because the time is also limited. Those things can also be done here. So for example, 23, so 2, 3, and I'm saying 6, done. And now it is ready to share. To share this project, you simply need to look for the person's username. Okay, I don't have any users act, we just launched it. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to create a new project and we are going to end our demonstration with this. So I'm going to log out, I'm going to sign up as a new user. So, Arcane JNU, no it's not that, sign up. Test. Test. Phone number could be any 9 numbers. Not want to list on list. It's up to you whether you want to save it or not. Simple, sign up is over. Go back. Log in. Now this is how it will look like when you don't have any task assigned to you or when you have not uploaded any task. Right? I'm going to go and log on to my account. And I'm going to share it with test user. Right? I'm sharing the picture narration. In one project there could be several tasks, but I will share each task separately. So I'm sharing the picture narration. The task has been successfully shared with test 001. Test 001 had a blank screen, right? Let's go and check it. You saw what I did, right? I did not do any sorcery or a lot of coding. I just used it like I would use Facebook. The body test 9. Ongoing task is picture narration has been assigned. I have to go and see and do what the overview tells me. Please look at the picture and narrate the story based on them. Okay, let me look at the picture. What is the opposite of reaction? Work, labor, drudgery, sadness, sorrow, occasion, unhappiness, profession, recreation. Oh, what is the happiness of recreation? Sorry, I read it wrong. Profession, task, difficulty. Okay, now I need to create a small picture narration based on this. So there is two pigeons, one with red hat and one with a scholarly black hat, and it is asking me what's opposite of recreation. So now I have to make a story out of it. So I press this. Hello. ரெண்டு புறா பேசிக்கிட்டு இருக்கு. அதுல ஒரு புறா சிவப்பு தொப்பி அணிஞ்சுக்கிட்டு அது படிச்ச புறா மாதிரி இருக்கு. அந்த கண்ணாடி போட்டு புறா கிட்ட போய் கேக்குது, ரெக்ரியேஷனுக்கு ஆப்போசிட் என்ன அப்படின்னு. அதுக்கு அந்த இன்னொரு புறா படிச்ச புறா ஒரு கருப்பு கலர் தொப்பி போட்டுக்கிட்டு ஸ்காலர் மாதிரி பிரெட்டை கழுத்துல தொங்க விட்டுட்டு என்ன சொல்லுதுன்னா, work, labor, drudgery, sadness, sorrow, occasion, unhappiness, profession, task, difficulty. படிச்ச புறா மாதிரி இருக்கிற கண்ணாடி போட்டு புறா கிட்ட போய் கேக்குது, ரெக்ரியேஷனுக்கு ஆப்போசிட் என்ன அப்படின்னு. அதுக்கு அந்த இன்னொரு புறா படிச்ச புறா ஒரு கருப்பு தொப்பி போட்டுக்கிட்டு ஸ்காலர் மாதிரி பிரெட்டை கழுத்துல தொங்க விட்டுட்டு என்ன சொல்லுதுன்னா, work, labor, drudgery, sadness, sorrow, occasion, unhappiness, profession, task, difficulty அப்படின்னு சொல்லுது. Any Tamil speaker here? Anyone who understands Tamil? Okay. So, okay, narration. So I'm done. I'm not happy with this narration, right? Let's say I'm very unhappy with the narration. I can go ahead and record it again. You see this button? Huh? I can record it again. I'm speaking and I suddenly cough. I just did. I'm not happy. I can record again. There's a record again option too. But I'm not going to do it. I want to save time. Now, I want to have a one. There's something else that I can tell about this. Okay, fine. Add another. I can add another story to this. Now, all the stories, all the thing that I have to say is done. Then I go back to overview. And there is an upload button. Right now, first, the person who created that task shared the task. I did the task, and what I should do? Complete the task, send it back to it. So I send it back. All new recordings uploaded successfully. So now here, what is happening is, app is like a road, right? It is traveling, the task just travel between two people. The task and response has traveled between two people, and the road is what we are doing. That's exactly what we need here to build a community. We are creating spaces that could be connected, that could connect with each other. So we are exactly trying to do that. We are trying to create those basic infrastructures that probably would be adopted by some of you to create those networks of connections. So I'm going back and going to download this, and I hopefully have my data there. And with that, so picture narration, this is what the data that I just did. So I'm going here, picture narration, going back to overview and trying to download. So the narration is there, I'm downloading it. Test 001, who gave the recording, right? That has to be known. So test 001 has given me the recording. So it has a folder created, go into it. Here is the metadata and here is the verify. So we heard, but I can say again. Sorry, it's not loud enough. Wait.
ரெண்டு புறா பேசிக்கிட்டு இருக்கு. அதுல ஒரு புறா சிவப்பு தொப்பி அடிச்சுக்கிட்டு அது படிச்ச புறா மாதிரி இருக்கிற அந்த கண்ணாடி போட்டு புறா கிட்ட போய் கேக்குது. Recreation, opposite.
So I'm just stopping here. Okay? You just listen to it. So as I pointed out, communities are about connections. When people feel connected, a community is born. That's exactly what Web 2.0 was. Many of our tasks of language documentation have evaded Web 2.0. We are now trying to not just do Web 2.0, also move us into Web 3.0, into a connected network, into a connected world. So this Atekho as an app, as we already discussed, is connected to an ecosystem of other applications that helps you do your linguistic work, that helps you remove some of the repetitive and tedious tasks out. And some of these tasks are also tasks that have gatekeep many non-linguists from entering into language documentation. But those linguists have done wonderful work. And it is exactly this is what that we are trying to do. We are trying to remove the gatekeepers, as basically, and make language documentation an accessible work, or rather, reconceive a documentation as an accessible endeavor where everyone participates on an equal footing. There is no hierarchy between the researcher and the researcher. It's all about connections, and we want to make those connections. And Atekho for us is about making those connections. Those connections that will hold on to a language, to the words and the language. So thank you. This is the end of the demonstration. I now ask Shyam to give a vote of thanks, a brief vote of thanks for this. Then it is outside? Yes. So the vote of thanks is just a formality now. After tea, we can have a discussion where you can share a lot of feedback. We don't want the tea and the kachori to go cold. Samosa to go cold. Yes. Shyam.
So on behalf of Unreal and team Unreal, I thank Abhi ma'am. A special thanks to people who are here and you people throughout the workshop. So last year in November we conducted the same workshop. Some of our here I can recognize some of the cases. So that time we did not turn up with this much. We had that live application and we're using some other integrated app for this. Right now we have this our own in-house app ready. Ready in the sense that we can use right now and record and then fetch data, or we will soon integrate it to live application at Matrala, so people can record and then fetch data to live and then do. Last time also we were about to just uploading and fetching. There was no integration of these automatic models there in Matrala. This time I think that makes sense what exactly we are doing and what is the need of society, community, and as linguistics, community, humanity, and other streams as well. So a special thanks to Rudraksh, who was right now I don't know he's here, yeah. So he arranged all of the stuff out of the way, and yeah, Rudraksh, special thanks to you, and special special. After that, I want to thank our CEO, who just these days is flying too much here to there, presenting the things and last day he was in CL. Now in the night he landed here and then display launch this app and this is a great opportunity provided from center to launch this app and then conducted this workshop. And I think we are here for more 2 days. If you have any doubt, query, or need help in anything, so please reach us. And we have to standee outside this room. So there's a Bori project is there. I think you got pamphlet also for that. If you people are willing to do some work for your language, then please contact us. We have some open internship for that under this project. So I will not take much of your time because he is waiting for you. Thank you again, all of you.
So before we just turn on the light, stop there. So before we go for a tea, ma'am, do you have any quick comments that you would like to share?
Not much, except I was quite impressed with that it has generated automatically.
Yes.
So we have to work on that.
No.
So only